All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not pulling any punches. We're getting into the absolute raw reality of compounding massive wealth by tearing open the playbook of real estate heavyweight Ben Mallah. We're looking at what it actually takes to build a bulletproof financial fortress. And spoiler alert, it requires a total, top-to-bottom rewiring of how you view money, risk, and your daily grind. Let's see exactly how elite investors force their wealth to multiply. Okay, let's dive into this. To even begin to understand this level of success, we have to start with a seriously harsh reality check, and that is the trap of dead money. Think about Mallah's own past. At one point, he had a $500,000 van literally just sitting in a garage, collecting dust. Compare that to the elite mindset, which is just this relentless, almost obsessive drive to put every single dollar to work. Leaving massive amounts of capital trapped in depreciating steel and rubber, that's a critical failure if your goal is compounding wealth. The math on this is simple, but man is it brutal. If you liquidate a $500,000 vehicle and just park that cash in a basic, everyday money market account yielding 5%, you're instantly putting that money to work. It's generating thousands of dollars a month just sitting there. It totally perfectly illustrates that mental shift from being a consumer to becoming a true investor. The elite are constantly calculating the opportunity cost of the cash trapped inside luxury items instead of caring about the fake status those items bring.
And that relentless drive to optimize, it translates directly to your inner circle. Mallah operates with an absolute zero-tolerance policy for wasted potential. What really gets under his skin isn't a lack of ability, right? It's when people have the intelligence, the backing, and the raw talent, but actively choose to just coast through life on the bare minimum. If you want to compound wealth, you literally have to ruthlessly curate your circle and cut out anyone who refuses to put in the effort.
Section 1. The Golden Ticket, the 1031 Engine. And this brilliantly illustrates what the 1031 exchange is really all about. Outsiders often dismiss it as just some boring corporate tax loophole. But in this street-smart playbook, it is capitalism's ultimate ticket to forced compounded growth. Instead of cashing out and taking a massive, crippling tax hit, the system actually pushes you to roll 100% of your profits, tax-deferred, into your next, bigger deal. It's a mechanism that forces you to never touch the cash and continuously level up your assets. $50 million. Let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering, eye-watering estimated tax bill Mallah would face today if he decided to just cash out and liquidate his portfolio without using a 1031 exchange. I mean, when $50 million is on the line, utilizing the tax code to keep your capital working isn't just a smart option, it is literally the only logical move for an elite investor. Which brings us to a really raw personal admission from him. He says outright that without the banks and without the 1031 exchange, he would be a garbage man today. From his perspective, these capitalist tools are the definitive ticket to explosive growth. And frankly, he thinks anyone trying to get rid of the 1031 exchange is completely out of their minds because it would destroy the very engine that lets someone starting with absolutely nothing systematically build an empire.
Section 2. The Clean-Cut Rule, Bulletproofing Wealth.
Listen, true financial power, you don't find it in the shadows. Mallah flat out refuses to play games with tax evasion. People are constantly pitching him shady ideas, like transferring assets to a Montana LLC just to hide boats or whatever, and he rejects all of it. Why? So he can sleep at night. He plays it so strictly by the book, knowing the IRS has nothing on him because he never ever gets close to crossing that line.
So the rules for maintaining this kind of bulletproof wealth are incredibly strict. You never cross the line with taxes. You reject those shady loopholes that only offer temporary gains. Building wealth legally means you are the one putting forth the sweat equity and absorbing the massive legal risks. And from this viewpoint, wealth inequality is largely seen as a byproduct of individual choices. Are you making secure legal decisions, or are you succumbing to terrible time management and shortcuts?
Section 3. The Action Blueprint, Daily Attack.
Applying all this really comes down to a choice between two paths. On one hand, you have the ultimate trap, that broke mentality of endlessly scrolling Instagram, partying, and going into crazy debt just to keep up with the Joneses. On the right side, you've got the actual blueprint. This means actively training your brain to focus purely on positive financial security, tuning out all the worthless noise, and putting your head down to plan your own life.
Let's move to and see how this builds in the real world, because the tools to get ahead are already here, and they're remarkably accessible. It literally starts with spending a few $100 to take a real estate course, passing the test, and getting your official license. Then, you leverage existing tools, like securing an FHA loan with just 3.5% down to buy a fourplex. The legal pathways to wealth exist right now. You just have to step up and pull the trigger.
But once you're in the game, it demands this relentless daily attack mentality. Your internal monologue every single morning has to sound exactly like this. What do I need to do on this deal today? Do I call the broker? Do I call the lawyer? Do I need to get repairs done? You have to wake up obsessing over what positive accomplishments you can knock out before you move on to the next deal.
Doing this, though, takes immense discipline to escape what we call the street mentality. Mallah shares this wild story about a friend from his youth down in Miami. The guy had incredible hustle, right? Total street smarts, could close massive deals. But instead of patiently managing his properties to build long-term wealth, he chose the distractions, the booze, the boats, the partying. He completely missed out on becoming a multimillionaire because he just couldn't apply that raw energy legally and patiently.
And, this intense drive, it transcends just hoarding cash. Helping others better their lives and escape bad pasts brings a kind of satisfaction that money simply cannot buy. Mallah himself escaped a really rough path that he admits would have left him either dead or in jail. But because he used capitalism to build a clean-cut empire, he now finds massive value in helping people from similar backgrounds use his exact playbook to take care of their own families.
So as we wrap up this explainer, his entire philosophy boils down to this raw, unapologetic view of personal responsibility. You're either a loser or a winner. It's up to you. You have the power. Your financial destiny is entirely in your own hands. You might not be able to control the macroeconomy, but you have absolute, total control over your daily actions and the aggressive mentality you choose to adopt.
Which brings us to a final lingering challenge for you. What did you accomplish today? And what deal are you going to attack tomorrow? Building clean-cut, compounded wealth isn't magic, guys. It's a relentless grind of applying street-smart logic to capitalist tools, completely shutting out the noise and absolutely refusing to coast. Hopefully this explainer has given you the blueprint to rethink your strategy and start attacking your own opportunities. Get after it.